Leaving someone should feel like a decision you make once you finally see the truth. But with certain toxic relationships, it doesn't work that way. Even when everything inside you knows the relationship is hurting you, walking away still feels heavy, confusing, and emotionally impossible. You start questioning yourself instead of the situation. You remember the good moments more than the painful ones. You feel attached even when you feel hurt. And the strangest part is, part of you still misses them, even while another part is trying to escape. Today we will talk about why leaving a narcissist feels impossible, even when you know the truth. So, before we start, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel. 10. Trauma bond keeps you emotionally hooked. One of the strongest reasons leaving feels impossible is something called a trauma bond. This happens when emotional pain and moments of affection repeat in a cycle. One moment there is hurt, distance, or conflict, and the next moment there is love, attention, or reassurance. This inconsistency creates a powerful emotional attachment because your brain starts chasing the good version of them. Even when you are hurting, you remember the moments when everything felt okay, and your mind begins to focus more on those rare moments than the repeated pain. Over time, this creates a bond that is not based on peace or stability, but on emotional highs and lows that keep you attached. 9. Intermittent love creates addiction. When love is not consistent, it becomes addictive. You never know when you will receive kindness, attention, or validation, so your mind stays alert, always waiting for the next moment of relief. This unpredictability keeps your emotional system activated, like it is constantly searching for something it cannot fully predict or control. Instead of feeling secure in love, you start feeling dependent on the possibility of it, and that dependency becomes stronger than logic, because your brain begins to value the reward moments more than the overall reality of the relationship. 8. Your brain confuses intensity with love. Toxic relationships often feel extremely intense. Strong emotions, emotional arguments, sudden affection, deep lows, and temporary highs. Over time, your brain starts to confuse this emotional intensity with genuine love. So when things are calm, stable, or peaceful, it can feel empty or even wrong. And when things are chaotic, emotional, or dramatic, it can feel meaningful or real. This creates a false connection between chaos and love, making it harder to recognize that healthy relationships are usually calmer, not more intense. 7. Emotional dependency has already been built. Over time, you start depending on that person for emotional stability. Their attention affects your mood, their silence creates anxiety, and their validation feels necessary for your sense of worth. This dependency doesn't form in one moment. It builds slowly through repeated emotional reliance. So when you try to leave, it doesn't just feel like losing a relationship. It feels like losing the emotional system your mind has been using to regulate itself, which makes separation feel overwhelming. 6. Hope keeps you attached to the better version. One of the hardest things to let go of is hope. You remember the early days when things felt good, the promises they made, the apologies they gave, and the moments when you believed things could be different. So even when reality becomes painful, your mind keeps holding on to the possibility that they could change or return to that version again. You are not only attached to who they are now, you are attached to the version of them you once experienced or believed in. And that hope keeps the emotional connection alive long after the reality has changed. 5. Fear of emotional withdrawal. Leaving doesn't just feel like ending a relationship. It feels like withdrawal. Your mind and body have adapted to their presence, their messages, their attention, and even their emotional unpredictability. When it suddenly stops, your system reacts with discomfort, emptiness, and emotional restlessness. This feeling can easily be mistaken for missing the person, but often it is your nervous system adjusting to the absence of emotional stimulation it became used to over time. That adjustment phase can feel painful, even when the relationship itself was painful too. 4. Self-doubt has been conditioned. After repeated confusion, blame, or emotional invalidation, self-doubt doesn't appear suddenly. It is built slowly over time. You start questioning your own perception of events. You wonder if things were really as bad as you remember, if you misunderstood the situation, or if your reactions were exaggerated. What once felt clear begins to feel uncertain. This doesn't happen in one moment. It happens through repetition. Being told you are wrong, being dismissed, being made to feel unsure about your own experience again and again. And eventually, that repetition starts to shape how you think about yourself. You stop fully trusting your own judgment. 3. Guilt keeps you emotionally trapped. Even when you are hurt, guilt can quietly become one of the strongest things holding you in place. You start thinking about how the other person will feel, how they will react, or whether you are doing something wrong by stepping away. You may even feel responsible for their emotions, as if their stability depends on your presence. This creates an emotional weight that is hard to ignore, because now, leaving doesn't just feel like ending a situation, it feels like causing pain. And that internal conflict keeps you stuck between what you need and what you feel responsible for. But over time, a deeper truth becomes important to understand. Guilt is not the same as responsibility. Caring about someone does not mean sacrificing your own emotional well-being. And staying in a situation that hurts you just to avoid guilt does not protect them. It only deepens your own emotional suffering while keeping you stuck in a cycle that drains you slowly. 2. The identity you built around them. Over time, the relationship slowly becomes part of your identity. It is not just about loving someone anymore. It becomes about your daily routines, your emotional habits, and the way your mind automatically thinks about them throughout the day. You get used to checking your phone, waiting for their response, adjusting your mood based on their energy, and planning parts of your life around their presence. Without noticing it, they become a central part of your emotional structure. So when you think about leaving, it doesn't just feel like losing a person. It feels like losing a version of your everyday life that your mind has adapted to. The silence that follows feels unfamiliar. The routine feels empty. Even the moments that were stressful still feel normal because your brain got used to them. And this is what makes detachment so confusing. Because you are not only letting go of them, you are also letting go of a life pattern your mind has been living inside for a long time. 1. The truth your mind struggles to accept. The deepest reason leaving feels impossible is not just emotional attachment. It is internal conflict. One part of you clearly sees the truth. You understand the pain, the imbalance, the confusion, and the emotional harm. You know logically that something is not right, but at the same time, another part of you is still connected through memory, habit, hope, and emotional conditioning. That part remembers the good moments, the early connection, the apologies, and the possibility of things changing. It holds on to what could be, even when reality shows something different. What do you think about our video? Let me know in the comments below. Before you go, leave a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.